Hello, good morning and welcome back to Hockenheim in Germany as we get ready for the start of another Porsche Supercup event. So cars heading out onto the grid in drying conditions after a real downpour before the start of the GP2 race about an hour ago. That led to the GP2 field making a gamble between wet weather tyres, which were the tyre at the time, and slick tyres, which became the tyre at the time. But Tom Gaymore, no gambling for our Super Cup drivers because it is dry enough now. It'll be wet offline, which will make life a little bit entertaining when they try and overtake, however.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. A difficult championship to overtake in, and definitely in these conditions even tougher. But we do have that long run down to turn 6, which does offer up the opportunity. Nicky Thiem on pole, his first pole position of 2014, because he's missed the majority of 2014. He came back at Silverstone, last year's champion on paper, but the people's champion, obviously, Sean Edwards, forever in the mind of all of us involved in the Porsche Supercup. And well, in your second race into 2014, what a great way to mark your announcement back to the championship, Nicky Thiem.
Shows that he's lost none of his pace, doesn't it? And with Kevin Estre alongside him on the grid, very strong front row lineup. Michael Ammermuller in third place, so we got a Dane and a Frenchman on the front row. Michael Ammermuller, the first German, in third place. Kiwi Earl Bamber goes away in fourth spot. And the big news, of course, and all of the media focus has been over our guest driver, Patrick Dempsey, the American Le Mans Series and Le Mans racer, making his first ever Super Cup start. And despite his Porsche 911 experience, this is going to be a very difficult transition for him. Track he's never been at, and in a purely Porsche competition, I think he's finding this to be really quite a baptism of fire.
Yeah, trying to move away from the dreamy analogies that have been labelled upon him, because he's not a doctor, he's not an actor, he's here because he's a racing driver now, and he is that. You know, if you look at his experience at Le Mans and his performances at Le Mans, he really is a capable driver. And if you look at where he's qualified, you know, he's not a million miles away. These cars are really, really difficult to drive, and very, very difficult to get the most out of. And let's not forget that the qualifying conditions were absolutely torturous, and I don't use that word lightly. It was about 35 degrees air temperature, and in these cars that's about 50 centigrade, and really that's like working out in your local scenario. So, you know, for him, he's done a very, very good job. And well, I've never watched Grey's Anatomy, so I only know him from the racetrack.
That's the entire contents of the booth. I've never watched Grey's Anatomy. I've only ever known him as a driver, and he is a very solid driver as well, getting quicker and quicker all the time. But as you say, this, for any driver, is a really tough championship to come in. I don't care who you are. If you put the Grand Prix drivers in this field, they would struggle to make the top 10 against the regulars, because these cars are so demanding of a very precise style of driving, which is why you get the guys like when Michael Ammermuller came in. He struggled for a couple of seasons to really get on top of the car. Now he's right at the front. And Nicky Thiem the same. I mean, Earl Bamber as well came into Porsche Cup racing last year in the Asian Series, and actually very impressed with how fast he found his feet, won that title, got himself a drive in Super Cup as a result. And he's turned from a young single-seater hopeful suddenly into this guy who can pedal a 911 like very few others can. And it, you know, that's maybe just unlocked something that no one would ever have found in him otherwise.
Yeah, and you mentioned the likes of Ammermuller and Bamber, one of many single-seater converts within this championship. It's been a rejuvenation, hasn't there? Especially Porsche really putting their weight behind the series with a number. I think there's 5 Porsche Juniors in this championship, and they are young and they are from a single-seater background, and so plenty of exciting names for us to talk about.
So round the final corner they come, the old Sud curve of what was once a very much longer, faster, and inevitably more dangerous Hockenheim ring. So they head down to the first corner, the Nordkurve, as you might imagine, and then a fast right-hander used to then lead you onto the long run through the forest, but nowadays comes up to a tight right-hand corner. So a short run to the first corner. Away they go, poleman Nicky Team, and alongside in the blue car Kevin Estre. Estre will have the inside line to the first corner, and he has track advantage. Ammermuller, the black car on the inside, gets a little squeezed. Earl Bamber runs very wide indeed, and finally comes back on. That's how wide he went, Tom.
Yeah, Ammermuller was always going to bully his way up the inside there, and quite rightfully so, and that's Schotthorst, is it?
Yes, that's Peter Schotthorst facing the wrong way.
He's
So
just
right,
got
you can
edged out.
uncover your eyes now. Kevin Estre leads then from Nicky Team. Earl Bamber in third, fourth place Mikael Ammermuller, and the first of the Conrad cars on the grid in fifth position.
Yeah, so going back to what I was saying, Ammermuller, it looked as though he was going to keep his foot in, but he didn't. He got up the inside and then backed out of it and lost out because of that.
The yellow flags are out already with Sven Muller. Alongside him, Klaus Bachler. A little bit of bumping and boring. Bachler, another of the junior drivers in the Porsche setup. That's Christian Engelhardt, car number 8. Very good start for him. Whoa, but a massive impact, and straight off. That is Rolf Inchen in another of the Conrad cars.
Yeah, Rolf Inchen very lucky not to harpoon another car. I have my hands over my eyes almost, because that is such a scary moment for us watching on, because all of those turning in, they're just oblivious to what's travelling up the inside like a missile.
Well, he already harpooned somebody, didn't he, to take that right front wheel off. I'm not quite sure who the other car was. Yellow flags have gone in, but I'm sure we'll be out again as we come again out of the Supercup, ending lap 1, and a big slide from Kevin Estre as he drills the throttle on the exit. Nicky Team couldn't quite get close enough to get the overlap. Earl Bamber in third, still Mikael Ammermuller in fourth place. Fifth place, Kuba Gimaziak, our championship leader from Bamber. And Estre does not look like he's got the speed that Team has got.
He just can't carry the momentum in. He's getting the car stopped and turning in a lot later than Team. Team looks like he wants to carry a lot more minimum speed in. He's certainly very confident on the entry, wants to get into the corner earlier. Estre not letting him do that and defending very well as we head down to turn 6. Team will go to the outside. And, well, that's where Estre wants him. He'll try and get the chop back, but Estre will stop it and get it straight. And, well, Estre just on that wet curb, but Team not with the momentum that he needs to get fully up the inside.
He is on the inside and takes the lead back.
Wow.
Great stuff, and Earl Bamber is right there as well. They have held themselves up so much. Bambi goes around the outside, wheel to wheel with Team, who eases him onto the very wet AstroTurf just before the road cuts back in the favour of Bamber, but he is up to second. Blue car number 3 of Estre down to third. Ammermuller now having a look. I don't think that Estre's got anything like the pace of those around him at the moment, so I'm not quite sure why. Maybe in another lap or two, his tyre pressures will start to play in his favour, but at the moment, opening lap speed is not there.
Yeah, braver, that's the word. Nicky Team, a Viking, and certainly...
Bas Schotthorst in the pits. Now, we also saw Peter off earlier on. That's Bas with a damaged left rear, so I think he may have been the car that was harpooned earlier on.
Yeah, and they're cousins, they're not brothers. I made that mistake earlier on.
Yeah, there's loads of Schotthorst. There's far too many to deal with, I'm afraid. So Nicky Team now, can he escape and leave Earl Bamber, Kevin Estre and Mikael Ammermuller to do the arguing? Great start from Ben Barker. He was in 7th place after the first lap. Klaus Bachler there on the back of that queue as a result of the fastest race lap so far. And Barker on his own just behind our lead 6. You can see him sort of on his own there, just squeezing away from the guys behind and trying to catch the lead queue. And he might well do that if the battles continue to rage in front of him.
Pretty fraught opening laps as Porsche Supercup races go, and we are all the better for it. Nicky Team now has to look at Earl Bamber. Earl Bamber was quickest in practice and is a very quick young man indeed. International scholarship winner, isn't he? And that's 200,000 euros towards a Porsche Supercup drive, so that's well worth winning.
And Bambi is coming all over the curbs there, really looking aggressive up into this new Mercedes arena section. And then heading back down to the final elements of the track. It wasn't a great start from Nicky Thiem, the pole man. Kevin Estre got up the inside. Good start from Earl Bamber, kept himself out of harm's reach.
You would expect that from Thiem. It's obviously a while since he's been in one of these cars. Didn't get away that well. Look at Ammermuller up the inside in the black and white nose car. Bullies his way up the inside, but then gets out of it very late and then is a sitting duck effectively. Bamber goes wide, keeps his foot in, and then Ammermuller having to defend further back into two. Look, bogs down.
Yeah, not enough revs. Nicky Thiem just slightly misjudged the amount of grip versus wheel spin and revs.
As a driver, it's a sinking feeling. But look, Ammermuller not able to get on the throttle.
No. And further back, where's the Scotthorst incident? So what happens? Yeah, it was. That's exactly why Bas Scotthorst is in the pits. Got clumped from behind by Ralph Inchin.
And Inchin having a scary moment. I tell you what, Baz going backwards into that turn is an equally as frightening moment.
Right, and that's why the yellow flags are out at the moment. Couldn't identify from behind which of the Team Project 1 cars it was. It's Sean Johnston. Again, running over somebody at the Spitz-Kerve at this hairpin. Fastest lap from Earl Bamber. Really piling the pressure on our race leader, Nicky Thiem. Still the top 6 together, and Ben Barker still trying to bridge the gap in 7th place. He's not getting any closer at the moment, though. Nicky Thiem, the race leader, Earl Bamber, Kevin Estre, then a little break back to Kuba Gemasiak and Klaus Bachler, 5th and 6th. Welcome back to Fred Carno's Arnie at Hockenheim. They have managed to drop Sean Johnston's car off that tractor. And so the yellow flags are still out at the prime overtaking position here as Nicky Thiem leads the race by now a full car length over Earl Bamber with the red highlights and the blue car of Kevin Estre. And despite all this shuffling and squabbling going on in the foreground, Mikael Ammermuller still not either wanting to or able to join in this battle, but he may end up with a podium position at the moment because after track limits were ignored by Formula 1 without penalty, ignored by GP2 without penalty, and ignored by GP3 without penalty, apparently the stewards are looking at Earl Bamber for running wide in corner 1.
Yeah, he just ran wide, didn't he? Kept his foot in and was managed to get ahead of Ammermuller because of that. And yes, you can argue that Ammermuller did maybe force him wide, but Ammermuller was up the inside of Nicky Thiem, so it was more. He was a victim of circumstance, Bamber, more than anything. But do you have to lift off on the runoff when you're rejoining safely? I know the Raikkonen
much safer
incident.
to come back on slowly in the middle of a first corner pack when you're in 3rd place. Yeah, much better to just crawl on at 50 miles an hour. That's always so much a safer way of joining a motorway, isn't it? To do it at 40 rather than at the ambient speed.
Exactly. I was looking forward to having this.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And now we're at the hairpin, and I'm pretty sure something's broken on the tractor. I mean, that's pivotal on the. Send
the tractor to rescue a rescue tractor because it's having trouble. And now you really, really need the yellow flags out, because you've not just got one abandoned car hard up against the barriers, you've got a whacking great tractor in the middle of the runoff area or the middle of the grass area, so I mean that really is dangerous. Oh dear, it's all going so well as well. Ben Barker in that little queue as Nicky Thiem continues to lead. So in fact that's Connor De Filippi who I mistook for Ben Barker early on. Ben Barker got shuffled back down the order a little bit behind Sven Muller here. Let's have a look in replay. Yellow flags. Yellow, 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 yellow. Who are we seeing passing here? Yeah, see, I don't care if he does make a mistake. You're not actually allowed to do that.
Oh dear, it's all going wrong in Porsche Supercup this morning. We've had reasonably good behaviour from everybody else.
Yeah, once we finally found the right pictures, anyway.
More yellow flags, and there we go. That's it. Look.
So in fact, yeah.
I didn't actually see yellows.
No,
at
the
turn
pass
2.
before was clean.
Yeah.
So Christian Engelhardt getting by was clean. Sven Muller, however, and you know, it's not that it wasn't yellow there for the last 2 laps either. It has been yellow for 3 laps, and he still makes a pass there. You know, I'm afraid when you get to the stewards' room, they ought to just kick your ass down the stairs.
Yeah, it's unexcusable, and
it's
not
pathetic.
Like, you know, you can't see it. It's pretty much there. Look, we got a real race now for the lead. It's 4 cars that are queuing up for that spot, and certainly battles all the way down the field.
And down to the hairpin this time. Lots of passing. Now, is it still yellow there, or is there a yellow flag out somewhere else? Not entirely sure. Robert Lucas and Ben Barker.
That's what makes that
tail
graphic most confusing.
Yeah. Now all the yellow flags are in, so the Spitzkever will be available for overtaking next time round. Let's take a look again here. Not the greatest piece of overtaking you've ever seen from Davide Roda.
/ awful. I mean, if you cannot get the car stopped, there's clearly a car in front of you on the apex. I mean, quite what he was doing, very, very difficult to sympathise with that, because, you know, at this level, it's a Grand Prix weekend. Stuff like that shouldn't happen. And anyway, I hope the stewards have a good look at that. Not that it's going to make much difference, because you can't.
Yeah, damage is done now, unfortunately, and he is a one-time entrant, you assume, so he's ruined somebody else's race, and any penalty they apply now can be merely financial. Oh, good, there's a yellow flag out somewhere else as well. Can't imagine where that would be. That'll be the Davide Roda incident.
Exactly, there's a good livery on that car as well.
Yeah.
And the Martini livery back on Patrick Dempsey's car, that's a beautiful looking
and
car.
I'm astonished, actually, that the TV director has not yet managed to find Patrick Dempsey. Our lead quartet is now down to 3, because Ammermuller is really being dropped, isn't he? He's just not got the pace.
But he was closer a second ago.
Yeah, he was, but he just can't stay with them. Kuba Gemaziak in 5th place. Well, he's not that overly worried. He's got Ben Barker behind him. Oh, good, the broken tractor's going to break another car.
That tractor's had a busy old day. It's not like you wouldn't expect carnage at the hairpin, and there's only one tractor that takes a good 2 or 3 laps. And we've seen it through every single race that we've commentated on this weekend. It takes an eternity to just remove one car, which is frustrating. It's the main overtaking spot.
Hockenheim obviously being paid by Silverstone to make repairs of the barrier that took 45 minutes look positively professional. And you've got to say, actually, that the barrier at Silverstone was so substantially moved that you really had to rebuild it from the ground, literally from the ground up, new wooden posts and everything. So the people that were whining on about how long it took, you try and put a motorway barrier in and see how long that takes when you've got to dig the holes and re-concrete it and everything else. The tractor there at Hockenheim, though, unfortunately, it is unforgivable. As you say, every single race has had prolonged yellows because of rubbish car removal. Why they haven't got a crane there, God only knows.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Anyway, for Nicky Thiem, he's not going to be too bothered because he's at the front of the field, and that's one of the threatening places. But Earl Bamber just can't get close enough down into turn 6. But either way, he's got to play the game. They have to be slow or slow enough within their sector times, within this element of the circuit. And that really does neutralise your threat. I mean, you really do have to just sit there and wait.
A little bit of a move shaping up here. This is Christian Engelhardt again, I think, having a bit of a run at Connor De Filippi. And don't do it down here, because there are yellow flags out. I can see the lights from here, and I'm looking the wrong way at them. Don't make the pass. Connor De Filippi slows down into the zone, trying to sucker him in, I think. And no, they're all trying to pass each other.
I don't see the point in that, because you're just showing your hand. You may as well just stay where you were and bide your time. Don't give the driver the opportunity to think, well, actually, you know, he might have a sniff up here in a lap or two once these yellow flags go in.
Well, this is now the prime overtaking place, isn't it? As you get to the inside there, you can see Alex Ribeiro trying to squeeze his way up the inside of Philipp Eng. Didn't quite work. The Austrian driver holds on.
It's Ribeiro, I think, isn't he? He's another of the young Porsche drivers. Hasn't had as strong a season as the likes of De Filippi.
That's a bit of a lunge up the inside and a biff and a bing. Wheel to wheel is okay in these things. It doesn't do half as much damage as shunting somebody from behind to your own car. However, have we had a yellow flag free lap yet? Not sure we have. I don't think even lap 1 they got through without yellow flags being waved behind them somewhere. Nicky Thiem from Earl Bamber, and in the championship with Gemaziak down in 6th position. Coming in, Earl Bamber was 13 points behind. This looks like it's going to halve the gap. Gemaziak in 5th ahead of Klaus Bachster, 5th and 6th. And then Connor De Filippi with Christian Engelhardt behind him. 3rd in the championship, Ben Barker, though. He is losing ground. Philipp Eng also losing ground, as is Sven Muller. So we're starting to see that it is Earl Bamber who is going to make the greatest inroads here. As long as Kevin Estre doesn't heave him off or the stewards throw him out, one or the other, either of which is eminently possible at the moment. The Nicky team, as you said, Tom, entered the championship again at Silverstone. Null point there for him, but looks like he's going to become our third different race winner of the season.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, with Earl Bamber lurking behind, he is aggressive, and if he gets a sniff, he's really, really going to push hard to try and get that car up the inside. So Nicky team cannot back off for any 1 second. Kevin Estre, for me, a little bit more conservative. Very quick young driver, but he doesn't have that robust, aggressive nature that Bamber has. Certainly a very exciting man to watch.
Closing stages at Hockenheim. Just seeing Alex Riberas again battling with Philippe Eng. What's slightly more importantly, you just saw the very last elements of a move that has put Kuba Gimasiak, the championship leader, down into 6th position after a move from Klaus Bachler off the Spitzkever. Ended up with him in front. Finally the TV director has spotted the Martini livery car, Patrick Dempsey. For those of you who watched the Dempsey's Road to Le Mans programs and so on,
that car's broken.
Yeah, it is definitely broken. The leaders are coming up to him. His steering wheel very, very much not on straight ahead. Dear, Christian Engelhardt having a very random moment down there.
Yeah, been some exciting racing, hasn't there? And you almost think for Gimasiak, he was looking at Ammermuller, slightly balked by Ammermuller down at turn 6, and then, well, Bachler really jumped on him. But yeah, this car's not going as quickly as the others. And without stating the obvious, I think he's got two wheels facing the wrong direction.
I think it's a bit rubber ducked at the front, that one.
Yeah, toe out.
It's definitely got pigeon toes. They're sticking out very badly, or is that sticking in? No, anyway, it's he has been clonked, I think, by somebody on the front. Nicky team goes by, and Patrick Dempsey, as you expect from a proper pro and a proper gent, stays well out of the way in the number 911.
And the indicators work. I've never seen that.
Yeah, lead trio go through. Hey, you know, this is all part of what Porsche do with the 911. It's a road car that you race. That's why they give you an ignition key with it. And people always say, no, they don't really. It's a racing car. No, you genuinely do. They give you a key on a Porsche key fob to start up your 911 GT3R, your Supercup car, or whatever else. I wouldn't be beyond surprised if their Le Mans car didn't have an ignition key to start it, because that's just what they like to do. Anyway, yeah, Kuba Gimasiak losing ground, and that's good news for Earl Bamber. Whether or not he manages to put in a move on our race leader, or whether he finishes second, Gimasiak getting shuffled down to 6th position just brings him a little closer. And Gimasiak now dropping off the back of that second group as well. You can see the headlights flashing from Klaus Bachler to Michael Ammermuller going, out of the way, I'm coming.
Yeah, Bachler's definitely got the pace. Ammermuller's got no pace at this stage in the race. That'll be probably a shock to him and incredibly disappointing. Ammermuller only 6th in the championship. He's not really had the greatest return in 2014.
And the second of the Conrad cars then, the number 8 car, Christian Engelhardt, all over the back of Connor De Philippi. It looks like the Conrad setup is working better at the end of the race. A little bit too close to the end of the race for them to really carve their way through, but better late than never. He's got a run going here. And unfortunately, Patrick Dempsey's car is in the way as Bachler goes down the inside of Ammermuller, plants it, and he parks it. I mean, that's a real block pass, isn't it? Down the hairpin, on the inside. Basically, doesn't matter if you're in reverse there, you've still got the place.
Yeah, Engelhardt as well.
Around the outside.
Philippi. And yeah, the Conrad car's working well. They need to work well in qualifying, and that was very, very close because De Philippi,
it's hot in the mouth, wasn't it?
Too much curb there can make the car wash out, and if you've got a car on the outside of you, you get clattered into if you're Engelhardt, but they live to fight another day. And both of those cars going forward on this lap, so you're absolutely right, the Conrad car very strong. Later on, it could be tyre pressures, it could be anything. The conditions today very, very different to what they've raced on or driven on the Friday and the Saturday. It's been
it's like they've come from
warm.
Abu Dhabi back to Europe suddenly overnight, and the temperature's gone from 50+ degrees of track temperature to 20 odd. Sven Muller right behind them was looking to capitalise. Nicky team heading on to the final lap, still clear of Earl Bamber, and Bamber still has to worry about Kevin Estre. Fourth now, Klaus Bechler. Fifth, Michael Ammermuller, and in sixth, our championship leader, Kuba Gemasiak.
Well, I'm not going to get the maths out yet, but Earl Bamber second in points. He's he is 13 points behind Kuba Gemasiak at this stage, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out at the end, because he's going to
back effectively to a dead heat halfway through the championship, isn't it? There'll be single-digit points between them after round 5 of 10, and that's what the championship needs. And Estre lunges to the inside on the final lap, and Gemasiak will be very happy to see that, but Estre overcooks it, and Earl Bamber saw the danger, Tom, and let him hang himself with his own petard. Right, mate, you go flying down the inside, I'll cut back. Whoa, and Muller gets just a little touch with the back of Connor De Filippi.
Yeah, Muller has gone backwards, hasn't he? He started up in 5th place and hasn't quite worked out for him. Estre through the kitchen sink at it, rear tyres as he goes down the box, squealing, almost like he's pulled the handbrake into turn 6 there. He had to try it, and the danger is you clatter into team, and that's how close it was. So we saw that in the GP3 race, didn't we?
Definitely. Very possible to do that. Into the final elements of the lap, the stadium section here at Hockenheim, this legendary amphitheatre of speed at the home of the German Grand Prix, or one of them. Oh, and Estre still trying to drag race him off the corner. He might have been better throwing it sideways into the Spitzkerve, but he didn't. Nicky Thiem, the poleman, wins the race. Didn't lead every inch because he was beaten away by Kevin Estre, but Estre finishes in 3rd place behind Nicky Thiem, our winner, and 2nd place man Earl Bamber. So the Dane celebrates. The Danish fans waving their flags there in the grandstands. Is it snowing? Gold? Somebody's set some big bangy things off there at the end.
Well, they've got loads of Danish fans here. Kevin Magnussen has a huge support in Formula 1, and then Nicky Thiem is obviously coining in on that as well. Yep. So it's not a million miles away, it's 900 kilometres away. Yeah, Kevin Magnussen said
and listen, you know, for the Danes, that's nothing. Look at the number of Danes that turn up at Le Mans year in and year out, and yeah, 1,000 kilometres there and 1,000 kilometres back. Yeah, it's the work of a day. They don't care at all. They are, you know, the Tom Christensen effect, the success of Tom Christensen at Le Mans year after year after year has just lit this motorsport fire in Denmark, and every Danish driver that comes along now is suddenly recognised because Christensen has set this, you know, huge national interest in motorsport alight, and so could Nicky Thiem's dad, probably very few Danish people actually even know that he was a racing driver, whereas Nicky Thiem, and as you say, Kevin Magnussen, especially because of Formula 1, will be very much better known names in their home country.
Yeah, and it's a nice surprise for the fans. Some of them will know Nicky Thiem, some of them won't. Some of them will be here to see Kevin Magnussen, and then they've seen a Dane win in front of them on Grand Prix Sunday. And Thiem really, I don't know how much more of the championship he's going to do, hopefully the remainder of it, but certainly I think looking at the championship fight, Gemasiak's been very, very quick this year, but Earl Bamber, for me, he's the most exciting driver. He's the challenger, the young contender, isn't he? And I think Earl Bamber's going to be a very, very difficult driver to beat because he looked good here.
Yes, he did indeed. So Nicky Thiem, our race winner, Earl Bamber in 2nd place, takes 18 points, and Kuba Gemasiak in 6th place takes 10. So we could see Earl Bamber just, 5 points behind, less than that maybe. We'll have to do a little bit of arithmetic during our commercial break. That's the race finish result. And as you can see, Patrick Dempsey being lapped by the leaders towards the end after contact from somebody, unfortunately. And Davide Roda took himself out of the race as well. Dane congratulates Dane. Tom Christensen on the left, of course. The FIA Driver Stewards Advisor this weekend down in Parc Fermé to congratulate compatriot Nicky Thiem on victory here. Earl Bamber just been congratulated too by TK for finishing in 2nd place. behind Nicky Thiem, and Kevin Estre, our third finisher on the podium. So there is Estre on the right-hand side. Nicky Thiem needs to do something about that haircut. That's proper helmet hair, Tom Gaymore. He needs to get rid of some of that. It's a bit boof.
Yeah, it looks like a Viking. He's always had that sort of white blonde hair, hasn't he? And then when he gets out of the car, he looks hot and sweaty.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's an interesting haircut. But the driver's getting hurried away because we have a schedule here this Sunday, because, well, all of these fans have come to see something
exactly
else.
Right. They've come to see Formula One, and it looks like things are heating up nicely. Temperature pretty high and climbing, and I'm not quite sure what the forecast is with regard to thunderstorms. They are forecast for this afternoon. Lots of electric storms could make for a highly dramatic Formula One race. Well, we've had plenty of drama already this morning. Walter Lechner Senior rather, and the rest of the Lechner Motorsport team down there waiting to greet their man on the top step of the podium. By my reckoning, with 5 races to go, we could have just 5 points between the top 2 in the championship. Kuba Gimasiak, our championship leader, and Earl Bamber, his closest challenger. So we'll wait to see what the official arithmetic is like, because I never trust my maths that much unless I've got a pen and a paper.
Yeah, and I didn't get involved, so can't blame me.
Well, that'd be the blind leading the blind, wouldn't it?
And yeah, just going back to what I was saying, I think the International Cup scholarship winner, Earl Bamber, he just, for me, is a bit more, I don't know, I've just got a feeling that he's the one that's progressing nicely. If you look at where he started, he's just progressing. Where's the potential going to go? I don't know. Gimasiak's been in and around Super Cup. He knows how to win. He's never won the championship. He's going to fight tooth and nail. It's going to go down to the wire. But I just think Bamber could do this, and it's perfectly poised, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's hear from Bob Costin-Duras on the podium.
In second place from New Zealand, Earl Bamber. And the winner today, Nicky Thiem. And in his honour, we'll hear the Danish national anthem. To Nicky Thiem and Walter
Danish anthem for Nicky Thiem.
Presented by Uwe Brettl, the Director of Motorsport Sales. Well done, Nicky Thiem, back on the Mobile Super One Supercup podium. On the top step, Earl Bamber in second place receives the trophy from Uwe Brettl. Earl Bamber with the FAC Autotech team. And third place driver Kevin Estre from McGregor Attempto receives his trophy from Uwe Brettl. Congratulations, gentlemen. Well done.
Uwe Brettl has been a part of the Porsche Motorsport programme for many years.
For the photograph.
There are your top 3. And Earl Bamber definitely needs to see the championship points if the director can produce them.
And now, the champagne!
He just does that so well, doesn't he?
It's one of the many reasons that Brilliant Bob is brilliant. So champagne for our Porsche Supercup trio, and again Bamber on the podium, bringing himself right back into contention in the championship. He still lies second to Kuba Gimasiak, but just 5 points, I think, between them, with 5 races remaining. Next time out, after the break, will be in Hungary. We'll see you then. Bye for now.